most of the people that I told were like, whoa, really? Like, you're going on this trip? You're doing this? Where are you going? How are you getting there? All these types of things. And I said, I'm biking. And they're like, are you sure you can handle that? And I, being me, I was like, are you doubting me? Like, are you doubting me? I got this.
Thanks you guys for making this the most fun grit year ever. It's really been a pleasure. It's been so much fun. You guys are awesome. You're so inspiring. Yeah, you're really good at making. Oh yeah, that's me. And invention.
Did you just get that on video?
That's like Anchorage GRIT is a 6-week after-school program where the girls meet 2 to 3 days a week for day rides and hour-long learning sessions with female professionals around Anchorage.
So when we set it up 3 years ago, we first planned on the final camp out, which is this.
Mm-hmm.
So they were going to ride from Anchorage, from their school, out to the end of Okludna Lake to this cabin, and then ride back to the trailhead. So do a final big camping trip over 3 days. The idea was like, okay, if that's the end goal, how do we build up to that? And the main thing for that was just getting them on the bike. I think the first ride was 8 miles, which was the longest they'd ever ridden ever. And then progressively building 8 to 10 to 15 to 25 over 6 weeks. And then having this as the big challenge at the end, which it's still a huge challenge, but with that base and that level of confidence, they can actually accomplish it, even though it's like almost killing them, or
Yeah.
so they think.
Yeah, they think until they're done. And
Yeah,
like,
and then
wow.
they're fine.
They come back the next year and they're like, oh, I did, yeah, we could do that again. And they do.
Also having Becky Zerby from Baggage here back for the second year has been solid. She's recruited the girls, she knows them well.
Yeah, I think that's where they need to go. We just look for girls that are maybe more on the shy side, but seem to have a lot of like interest and curiosity. And typically girls that are a little bit more resilient, like you can see that they kind of tough it out and don't complain a lot. I also try to go for girls that don't really participate in a lot of other activities. So this could be maybe something that they can really grab onto and maybe like find a new passion and get physically active.
I'm Bailey Williams, and I've been with GRIT for 2 years now. I'm Reese, and this is my first year of GRIT. My experience before GRIT was pretty interesting. We were basically just riding to the park and riding to the stores and stuff. We haven't really gone like probably past like 6 miles. And with GRIT, I'm like, okay, well, it's biking. It's gonna be nothing different. It was way different than I expected.
I don't think that most people can believe that they can bike 65 miles in like 3 days. Before GRIT, I wasn't much of a cycler. Like, I hardly really rode my bike. But now, like, after GRIT, like, if me and my friend want to go like somewhere, she'd be like, I'm tired, and we'd only like be like a quarter of a mile in, and I'm just like, how are you already tired? But then again, looking back, she hasn't gone through what GRIT does to you. It like it puts you through hard work, but it's really worth it. That makes sense. Like, you're gonna be sore and tired in the beginning, but it's gonna boost your confidence and make you stronger than you already are.
And so then the other aspect of Anchorage GRIT is just taking classes along the way that can be useful. So like mountain biking, because they end up riding on some rough terrain, and maintenance, because maintenance issues come up. And then they did a group building exercise because they work together a ton. And so all the classes are taught by female leaders in Anchorage. And I think, you know, beyond the exposure, it also just prepares them to be together in the wilderness as a group. So we have junior mentors almost coming back from years past, and it's really amazing to see them, because they've done this before, they step up to the plate. They encourage the other girls.
I've seen a lot of changes in the girls. Some of the ones who tend to keep to themselves at school, after they got into GRIT, they like to hang out with them at lunch more. They find something they can bond with other kids. I've also noticed that some of the kids that are really shy and are usually like, oh no, I'm not going to do that. Now they're like, oh, maybe I can do it if I try, and be a little bit more adventurous in their academics too, which is pretty cool.
I guess the camp out is kind of just like the final home stretch of Grit. Like, you've completed all these courses and all these workshops that get you prepared for this.
So the final camp out for Grit is somewhere between 65 miles. They bike from their middle school the first night. This year we stayed at Izumi Hills Girl Scout campground in Mirror Lakes. We get up the next day and we prepare for the big hill climb. And then they climb, is it 18?
1,400 feet to the ice cream stand.
Okay.
And it's really, the climb's just over 6 miles. It's actually kind of funny. I had this idea for this final camp out, and then I had no idea there was this huge hill climb. And it's kind of become like the peak of the whole thing because it's such a crazy challenge. It's like, it looks impossible. This hill looks like a wall.
It's steep.
I'm definitely ready for the climb, and I'm ready to face that hill. I'm not ready to actually experience it because I feel like I'm going to walk most of the way, but I'm still definitely going to try as hard as I can.
We're gonna group up into 2 or 3 girls and 1 mentor, and then we're gonna all travel up the hill with your group. So motivating each other, working together, waiting for each other, and that way we'll stay safe and we'll be kind of in our small groups on the way up.
But it's cool that it's part of it because the ride has like all these different challenges along the way. It's like the first night out of school, have to get there. Second day, big hill climb, and then
Mountain
12
biking.
miles of kind of rough trail
Yeah.
to get to the cabin. And then once you get to the cabin, it's like no power, no running water.
The faces drop.
They're just
Where's
like,
the
what?
internet?
So then that's kind of cool. But then they're so excited to be here. A handful of the girls today that were from here last year were like, this is the only time I go camping all year. Like, they just don't spend time outside in the wilderness, and they're 12. They're not just
Yeah.
gonna do it by themselves.
Yeah.
I have a new baby brother, so I can't really do a lot because I have to watch him. And like when I'm here, I actually feel like a kid, I guess.
Billy Ray Jepsen! Man!
And we try to set them up to feel like they're doing it by themselves, and we're just here like background. Yeah, I think you worry like, okay, how do I take kids out into the wilderness? And at some point you just have to say like, they're teenagers, they're responsible.
Yeah.
You have to like be there for them, but they're gonna make mistakes and fall, and it's okay.
Because
They
we
get up.
all will.
Yeah.
Everybody on a bike falls. It's part of biking.
Some of the girls struggled physically in the beginning. Like one girl, she had really bad asthma and she could barely stay on the bike for 5 minutes. And now, I mean, she just biked like almost 23 miles today, and she biked 23 miles yesterday, and that was pretty cool. And no problems, no tears, no breakdowns. So I think she's been really surprised at what she's capable of doing if she has, you know, mentors and other kids cheering her on.
I have so many friends from Grit now, and that's like a team kind of. Like if you were on a sport, your teammates are your friends, basically like family. And that's kind of what Grit was for me.
Well, and you told me this the first year, and it's always stuck with me, is that, you know, when we were talking about setting it up, and I was like, yeah, it'll take a lot of time to plan, and you're like, we got to do it this year, because if we don't, that's 12 girls that aren't going to get on the bike. It's important to think about like what growth is, and maybe that's not making it huge, but just
Right.
making it impactful for a lot of girls.
When I tell people that I'm doing this, they're like so surprised. And it just makes me want to, you know, do more. It just makes me want to do more and bike and bike and bike until I just can't anymore. And that's just really exciting for me.
You know, like the girls from the first year are now in high school. They're like, oh yeah,
yeah.
remember that weird thing we did? That's so good.
I sometimes wonder if they're like, what were those weird 30-year-old weirdo ladies who didn't have kids that took us on this weird trip. That was us.
It's been a lot of learning, and it's been a lot of fun too, just to make something happen.
Yeah, you're writing emails all day, but then you get on the bikes with the girls and you're like, oh, this is amazing.
It is so much fun. So, yeah.
That's great.
It's been cool.
But yeah, I really love biking.